Yeah, so what do you got for us this week? What have you
Uh,
found on the interwebs?
oh boy, we found some stuff. Say there's
Hmm.
a same kind of mix of news. There's some downers, but there's some uppers. It's kind of how it is every week. But we'll start off on a positive note with Xbox Cloud Gaming, because whenever we talk about Xbox Cloud Gaming, it's like 99% positive. So start
Yeah,
with
it's a
that.
fact.
Start with that. So Xbox Cloud Gaming is getting a mouse and keyboard support and latency improvements. This comes from The Verge, Tom Warren. He said Microsoft is preparing to add mouse and keyboard support to its Xbox Cloud Gaming service xCloud that streams Xbox games, TVs, PCs, mobile devices, and more. Software giant teased the addition earlier this year, and now it's encouraging game developers to get ready for mouse keyboard support and big latency improvements on Xbox Cloud Gaming soon. Quote, Xbox has been supporting keyboard and mouse for a few years now, and we're working on adding it to streaming for PC users. Software engineer Microsoft Xbox game streaming team, but you can start adding it to your game right now, and your console keyboard and mouse users will appreciate it. It will light up in streaming once we've finished adding it. So pretty big thing in the works, I think. It's good to see that a little bit more PC is getting involved. Even though like we've seen that ever since what feels like the inception of Game Pass. PC and console have been pretty intertwined, and feels like each have gotten like pretty adequate support on both sides. So nothing too surprising, but I think it's good to hear that, especially just kind of letting devs know that this is more than likely going to be a thing coming up very soon. So um definitely, if devs have the bandwidth, they should definitely look into making sure they have that available to their Game Pass games. Um Very good stuff there. The article goes on a little bit more to talk about. There's even a slideshow discussing some of the new APIs that are going to improve stream latency. Um, and for those that don't know, it's essentially just like the code that they can pull into their games in order, and especially on the streaming side. So when they're streaming, they essentially cut a lot of corners to get rid of a lot of latency. I know for me, like whenever I know I mentioned before, but whenever I'm gaming, I mean, there's certainly noticeable latency, especially if the internet's bad and
Yeah.
some. But yeah, so there are some specs they go into that says the latency could drop as low as 2 to 12 milliseconds compared to the 8 to 74 through the traditional display pipeline. There are some limitations though. Direct capture only supports a maximum resolution of 1440p and doesn't support dynamic resolution or HDR just yet. Yeah, they talk a little bit about when you're streaming, best resolution for the quality and latency balance, and guarantees direct capture, avoids extra scaling latency, and minimizes scaling artifacts. So, a bunch of gaming terms, not a bunch of like game dev terms there. Nothing that's probably of note for most people. Just know that your games are gonna interact a little bit better with your inputs. So, I don't know. What do you think overall, Mike? Does this sound good?
Well, yeah. So the main concentration, right, is the mouse and keyboard support and the latency improvements. So the latency improvements are always going to be good because that's going to help out all the hardware,
Yeah.
regardless of whether or not you use a mouse and keyboard. One of the things that has me interested in like something that they kind of missed on is people that play like first person shooters. So like COD or Halo or anything like that, and they want to use mouse and keyboard, but all they have is an Xbox. The polling rate is I don't think the polling rate can get over 500 hertz,
Oh,
which
that's
is kind of a
interesting.
big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is kind of a big deal. I think it's like default or something like that, like 250 or 300.
Yeah.
So what happens is like people that are comfortable on PC where like the polling rate could be what they want it to be, like, and they get really comfortable with the refresh rate with how quick the movement, how smooth the movement is, and they come over to an Xbox and it just feels sluggish. They don't feel as accurate. Like everything just feels broken.
Yeah.
That's what I've heard from people that use mouse and keyboard on Xbox about how difficult it is. So I hope they can improve that, but I feel like that's a hardware issue. That's not something they can fix with software.
Yeah.
But then again,
Yeah.
this is cloud gaming, so you're not limited by the hardware.
Yeah. Very true.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's a good point. I think, I mean, I think overall it'll be good to see those improvements, but yeah, there is still some of those like limitations that aren't easily noticeable, I think, to most people, especially on the
Yeah.
console side. So,
Yeah, I mean, for the casual fan, casual player of like games, actually, I think most gamers, they're not gonna notice. They're not gonna care. So this is definitely a good improvement. It's only the beginning too. Like,
Yeah,
I just love how the latency is getting lower and lower. And it's getting faster and faster. I mean, the latency spread for, I guess, the display pipeline, what they currently have is from 8 to 74 milliseconds, is what they
yeah,
say. And then the direct capture, which is their new add-on in software for it, is from 2 to 12 milliseconds. So on the high end, that's dramatic.
yeah,
That's 62 millisecond difference.
yeah. I mean, they
Like,
they also
that's enough to
mentioned
notice.
right, yeah. I mean, they also mentioned, with that direct capture and lowering that latency, they aren't able to output the like 4K resolution or like a higher resolution
Right.
with that, which makes sense because, if you're trying to make it faster, there's gonna be a lot more bandwidth needed for higher,
Mhm.
display um higher display settings. So it makes
Yeah, so
sense.
yeah, what I think it really does is it brings more flexibility to, like, you don't really care too much about the latency if you're playing a game that's story driven, campaign style, you know? But if you're concentrating more on like reactionary games, like racing games or I don't know, whatever wherever like reaction is more important than the actual like aesthetics of the game, then you can go with direct capture.
Yeah,
So it's a little bit of it's a compromise. It gives you options on how you want to use xCloud.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, all around positive stuff. Um, yeah, let's see. Article goes a little bit more. It says Nvidia launched the 3080 GeForce Now tier. So GeForce Now is their, Nvidia's streaming platform. They launched a 3080 tier last year with impressive latency improvements. NVIDIA built its own adaptive sync technology, which varies the game rendering to match a synchronous monitor and allows GeForce Now to sync stream games to any 60 hertz or 120 hertz monitor. 120 hertz monitor, which is pretty crazy. Like the fact that they can do
Yeah.
that over stream. So, NVIDIA, who knows? I don't know all the specs between all the streaming services, but I mean, I feel like NVIDIA would have a pretty good grasp on it. Um, but I mean, when it's all said and done, I mean, we're still in the infancy stage of streaming, so it's
Oh
only gonna
yeah.
get better. It's like, like I've been trying to think about that a lot lately with like, especially with like newer like streaming technology and like hardware and whatnot. I mean, for the most part, we're still like pretty early on into the game, Um,
Yeah, we're
so
really, really early. I think Google Stadia might have been the first ones to try it. Does that sound about right? And they were talking about like in 2009, around the same time they were trying to do those Google glasses.
yeah, yeah,
And I think Microsoft already had the infrastructure and the backing of the hardware, the technology. They're already in the gaming space. So it's only obvious that Xbox is kind of leading the charge now.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, they got it all, man. So yeah, like you said, they had the foundation, so it's only
Have
gonna
you
get
had a
better.
chance to have you had a chance to check out cloud gaming yet?
Um, Not recently. I think last time I actually tried cloud gaming on my like iPhone was on this really old iPhone was like, months ago, but I didn't really try it again because I figured the hardware is probably not there for me to like stream a game like efficiently on
Yeah.
this device. So I'm really just waiting until I get a new phone, and once I do, then I'll probably check it out again and give it a fair shot because I think it'd be a lot better on like a newer generation phone.
Yeah, that's basically what I've been eyeing. So my phone's about 2 or 3 years old. It might be actually, it might be close to 4 now,
Yeah.
4 or 5. Yeah, like the whole situation that happened like the past 2 years, I kind of erased a year from my memory because it was all spent indoors. So my time is all messed up, and I think a lot of people are like that too. But my next phone is gonna have that capability to do cloud gaming and also TVs. I want to get that Samsung TV so bad now. And now I'm like, I've been eyeing up Vizio's, and I'm like, Vizio has TikTok integrated too. Oh my gosh. Like, there's so many things coming.
Yeah.
Um,
You
yeah,
saw
it's gonna
you,
be
s-
really
you
interesting.
saw that huge monitor I sent you, right? It's like a monitor. It's like the size of a TV.
Oh
It
yeah,
was
you
like half
said
off.
here. Let's pull it up right now. This isn't like a plug for the products because we haven't watched any reviews, right? But you were just like, look at this.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. You said you didn't know I worked for PC gamer.
Yeah,
It's like I'm this close to spending money I don't have on
I
this huge
know.
4K
That
120
that
hertz OLED
article's
gaming monitor.
that article's
It's
hilarious. The guy was
it
like, he's like,
sounds
I'm about to
hilarious.
buy it. I'm about to do it. So funny.
Yeah, so the Aorus, 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 does that sound right?
Yeah, Oris.
Aorus, okay. FO48U 48-inch 4K OLED gaming monitor. This is the problem. So if you read the full title for Amazon, it's out of control. It's like OLED gaming monitor, 3842 times 2160 display, 120 hertz refresh rate, 1 millisecond response time, GTG, whatever the heck that means. 1x display port, 1.4, 2x HDMI 2.1. That alone is gonna make that's like $300 right there. HDMI 2.1. You got two of those.
Got two of them
USB
babies.
3.0. You only had 3.1 though? Sheesh. Didn't even have 3.1 with USB Type C. So this thing's nuts. This would take up my entire
Yeah,
my entire table.
it would, and it's half off, Mike.
No, it's not anymore. You sent it to
Oh,
me last night.
dang. They already
No
got rid of the
joke.
sale.
It's already at above 1,000. So it was at $1,500 when you sent it to me. It was at
Yeah,
749,
yeah, something like
right?
that.
And
Dang,
now it's up to so it's only 28% off. So they sold enough
dang.
copies and they're like, okay, that's enough. This looks
Jeez,
like a TV, man.
I know. It pretty much is.
Yeah, but we're
Not
getting
gonna lie.
distracted here. We were
We
talking about
are.
cloud gaming.
We are. Talk about Xbox. And I think it's a good segue
What's
to
going on?
get into the next
Yeah,
segment,
it
huh?
is.
Because it's still
Yeah.
Microsoft. It's Xbox.